Good evening. This is the Thistleman here with a Let's Play video for Stellaris. I'm going to dive right into a new game here. And just a heads up, I have been playing Stellaris for quite a while, pretty much since it released. I bought it right on release. I've generally kept up with all the DLC. Got a lot of new stuff that came out since I last played, so I'm diving right in with a race I designed on my own. I enjoy good custom races, but there's a lot of interesting stuff as well if you want to play with the pre-generated. They give plenty of fun options. But me, I've never been one to try and follow the beaten path. I like to just dive in with some crazy shit and see how it goes. So for today's game, I've got a race I designed that I figured would be a very interesting playthrough. They're called the Great Thistle Imperium. Now I've got a long history with Paradox games, and my imagination here is a race that started in the young year of 769 AD, back in Crusader Kings. It's a race that has carried through all of Crusader Kings 2, into Europa Universalis 4, through Victoria 2, and into the Hearts of Iron. The world has been united under my race that started with House Thistlemaster and has since revolutionized the world. At least that's a little background my imagination came up with. When creating a race, there's a lot of options, from appearances to species names, what kinds of names you get for ships, leaders, and planets, traits. You can customize all kinds of good things. And for my people, I went with Intelligent, which gives a lot of research bonuses, rapid breeding for pop. They're unruly because House Thistlemaster has always been the problem child. Resilient because we have never once been wiped out. In fact, as I've played them, we have almost never lost a defensive war, with maybe a couple exceptions back in the era of Crusades, but that's neither here nor there, right? Crusades. Who cares about that? We're hitting space now. But, the challenges of becoming such a wealthy house and creating such a unique and specialized world is that we're now very wasteful. We treat the universe as if it's our own backyard. Other things that you can select would be what kind of starting world you like. Now you see that I've got Gaia world here, but you don't see that option amongst the kind of worlds you can choose. Well, that's thanks to your empire origin, and cities I kind of glossed over back there. And so life-seeded is that you've evolved in a paradise, possibly designed just for them. Now that little origin I'm kind of against with my little story here for how I envision House Thistlemaster, but when it comes to origins, unfortunately I can't edit the background details. But you get all kinds of stuff for different populations and origins that would make for very interesting gameplay. And more of these options become available through various DLC. So I always would recommend with Paradox games taking a look at which ones would be fun to add, because they really add a lot of extra flesh to the universe. I've always been a big Paradox fan, never been a fan of the monetization level, but overall it's been worth it for everything. And now, as part of my visualization of the species, we've gone from materialist, militarist, authoritarians, with aristocratic elite and philosopher king, to best envision the fact that while we have taken over the world, that would also mean we've never seen fit to actually leave the feudal society from which we began. The rest of these are just other fun little customization options that don't really bear too much on gameplay, but are nice to have. So that is my species. Now we're going to go into the universe I'm going to play at itself. Personally, I always like playing in a huge universe, but you can always change the size down to smaller if your computer would like to run better on it. With a nice spiral galaxy shape. Nice number of starting empires to really fill it out. Nice little variants for surprises for the advanced AI starts. I like to max out Marauders and Fallen Empires. Reducing the number of habitable worlds for a bit more of a challenge, as well as increasing the crisis strength. Now, I like to play on Admiral level difficulty. And for this Let's Play, let's turn on scaling difficulty. So while the AI is going to definitely be much more advantaged thanks to the higher difficulty, the scaling difficulty will keep them from starting off at a level that just makes me cry. And with that, let us start. Let's see what kind of universe we get with this Let's Play. I did make another video, or at least attempt a video earlier, that had failed horribly because of mismanagement of my video recording application. So this one looks like it's going to be running a lot smoother, because I'm actually going to capture my screen this time. And so you can see the little origin at play here. And if you like story, always read through the little windows that you get with Stellaris, because it'll give you all kinds of fun tidbits that make the universe much more involved. So the origin, life seeded. In the eons since the first primitive Thistle communities took shape in the idyllic valleys and lush forests of Thistle Earth, our civilization has spread and prospered. The vast world we call home has always been a paradise to our kind, and as our scientific knowledge progressed, we began to see patterns in the biosphere that could not be natural. Did some unknown entity create this world specifically for us? Are we playing a part in a greater design? Regardless of its origin, our people have thrived in the pleasant climate and gentle environment of our home world. Now, after the discovery of the Hyperlane Network, the finest minds of the Great Thistle Imperium have finished development of the first hyperdrives. The stars themselves are finally within our grasp. And so we begin. So we can see here, we've got Thistle Earth, a nice Gaia world with 28 pops to start, here in the middle of our galaxy. Now, I've had this galaxy running similar to the Sol system, our solar system, but you've got various other ones that you can mod out to start. But first, let's take a look at our options here. We can run with, I'm going to start with researching some fusion reactors. Let's get some society research bonus. And let's get the engineering research bonus. So there's not too many hot research items available to start. Now let's take a look at where we got dropped in the galaxy. Seems that we are on one of the mid to outer spirals. So if we push up, we could potentially get ourselves into a nice corner. Looks like I've got a good defensible point here. The stars out here seem to dead end. And might have a defensible points out this way. It's always good to note choke points, because those are great places to set up your forts and to start researching and pinning off as soon as possible. So we start with our first science ship here, and until you get automatic exploration, you will have to manually have them explore around and see what they can find. And one of the first things I always like to build as well is a secondary science ship. By the end, we generally wind up with around 4 or 5 running around the galaxy. Now, if you notice, that cost alloys. On the top bar here, we've got our various different resources that we can use, from energy credits, minerals, food, consumer goods for your populations, and alloys used to build ships. Unity is another resource that builds up over time that lets you get tech and traditions. Research is self-described and naturally useful for building and getting your tech. Then you've got a lot of specialized strategic resources. These ones are used for a lot more advanced material, and they're a lot harder to come by. However, with research and time, you'll eventually be able to get access to most, if not all of them. Then we've got our Empire Sprawl, which is very important, because when you start exceeding it, you start getting negatives to various things that will impact your development. Envoys are used in dealing with other nations as we discover them. Then you've got your population, your starbase capacity, and your fleet capacity. Now, if these look small to you, don't worry. Pretty much everything here gets increased over time, especially as you play along. So now let's get running, and I tend to like to run it fast. Sometimes this game can feel like it's moving a little slow, and it's always worth it to boost that speed up. Now let's take a look at our capital here while we're looking around. So Looks like our Gaia world starts with dust caverns, so we can get most harvesting traps, gas extraction wells, crystal mines. Looks like we've got quite a few little bonuses there for our capital. So that's all under the planetary features. Planetary features are important to note because a lot of times you'll find you can get access to various different technologies and technology bonuses on the world that otherwise might not be available, as well as what kind of things are blocking your continued expansion and growth, like the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. I wonder how that got there with our wasteful species. Ha! So clearing that up will allow more agriculture. We can clear out sprawling slums, which will give us just an additional district in general. And then industrial wastelands will allow us to get more generator districts. And each of these districts are important for getting some of the resources we notated above. Oh, now look at that. Our science ship's gone out to Barnard Star. Interesting little system out there, and our second ship has already finished, so let us get us a new scientist to start surveying the stars. Ooh! Now I've got a tough choice to make. I can get either a surveyor or an archaeologist. I think I'm going to start with the surveyor because the archaeologist will still be there as long as I'm kind of quick on the draw. Now, since I know this is a little pocket here that will wind up being mine regardless, I will send my surveyor, click him, press and hold shift. Oh, I didn't assign them. You always want to make sure you did that. But when you press and hold shift and right click, you can queue up orders. I like to do survey system personally because wherever my explorers go, I like to know what's there. However, if you're looking to do a quick look around, you also have the Explore option, which is just going to be your science ship jumping to the system just to see what's further out, and it doesn't actually have them researching what's there. Now, since I've already encountered a science ship out in Ocelius, that has me a tad intrigued. And noted it said an unidentified empire, so I'm going to have to figure out who that was. But the fact that I've encountered someone already means my borders are going to be very close. However, whoever I encountered, I didn't see enough of them to get a research log option for it, which I find very interesting. Now, I'm going to want to start getting prepared really quickly to start expanding my options. Now my next science ship is ready here, and for this one, I will get that surveyor that we saw earlier, the archaeologist, rather, and have them start exploring and leveling up their abilities. They're going to be very important later when we start finding dig sites. And since I got an archaeologist this soon, that means pretty much as soon as I find a dig site, I am going to lay my claim to that. Let's get our outpost up and running up here in Barnard Star. And likely down in Ocelius next. So at the very least I can get myself a greater potential claim versus neighboring empires. Now if we look up at the top here, we can see that I've got quite a backlog of minerals building up. And over here I see that I've got building slots available in my capital. So, based off of what my needs are currently in my current minerals production, I figure I'm going to be having a higher need for alloy. So I'm going to get some alloy foundries rolling to produce those. It creates 2 alloy production jobs, which will cost 12 minerals per month, but provide 6 alloy. And so it's very important to keep track of jobs as well, because when you look at your population, when you look at your population, you can see that they're currently filling out all the jobs I've got. I've got 6 housing, 0 available. But if I've got more jobs than I've got housing, then that means my population won't be able to keep up. If I've got more population than jobs, I'm going to have a lot of unemployed people. So it's very important to keep a note of that. Now, remember that Unity I was talking about? We've got our first traditions becoming available. So, I'm going to go down the discovery route. I've been having a lot of fun focusing that, which boosts our anomaly research speed by 20%, and when I go down to boldly go, I can boost my survey speed. However, other good starts might include expansion, or, depending on how many people are swarming you, you might go for supremacy or domination earlier, or diplomacy. It's all how you want to play your species. Let's get a good mining station here to keep up on that energy. As soon as that's done, I will pop down to the Stellaris system and lay claim there. Found another anomaly. Routine research time. Let's get them started on that. I'm very curious as to who that was that had jumped out of Stellaris as I've arrived. If it was anything other than an AI empire, I would have gotten a notification about it. The fact I didn't get a notification for something to research is very odd. Even if it was an AI empire, I should have had a notification. But we shall see. Let's get my starbase rolling down in Ocelius. Oh, there is no way that is an AI empire. Looks like... $4.1K. It's a caravan. So there's a caravaneers around here. I was worried for nothing. They're very peaceful neighbors that you can have, that you can generally set up trades and whatnot with. Oh, it's always nice to have a little bit of expansion rolling. Let's see here. I've got enough alloy now. I would like to get my 4th science ship, please. I'm one shy. Boom. Got some more alloy rolling. Let's find out who's going to be piloting. Ooh, maniacal. Let's research this maniacal guy, and let's see here. Since I'm a Gaia species, I'm going to want to actually have my best researchers running for my biology focuses, because that will allow me to terraform later on. Society research is very important for gene modding, for various things like boosting your influence, or just various different other things that boost your species. You'll even find psionics down the gene modding track. Alright. Looks like since I had the starbase there, I finally got to meet the caravaneers. Let's see here. Unfortunately, I don't have the credits to purchase their edict, but I will keep it in mind. Now, I've already got this guy moving around here. I'm sorry, I don't have the 2500 for your new Mystic Visualization edict. Please move along, caravaneers. As much as I would have loved to have worked on that, I cannot. Now I've got another... Chor's Compass. That's where they're located at. Revealed that for me already. I'm gonna send my next guy to survey along out this way. If I can snag myself a nebula, that would be a very nice advantage. Yeah, a lot of very interesting galactic features get annotated on the map, which is the Bonic Veil, Oracle's Grave Nebula. They're all various nebulas, some of which will have a black hole at the center, but a lot of them have very nice resource bonuses. So nebula is generally a very good galactic feature to control. It's a series of stars. It also gives negatives to movements for sublight speed, so it can make it a bit more defensible, because it could make a starbase set in a nebula have a better chance of massacring anyone who's foolish enough to challenge it. Let's get my mining stations rolling there. Host of old mineral drones, but because I was careful, I get to get the +4 to my energy. Very nice. Discovered some rare crystals. Ooh. We do not yet possess the means to extract them, but we should seriously consider establishing control for future exploitation. And naturally, so those are down here. Rare crystals, which are an important mid-game resource for upgrading and developing. Now, as you can see, I'm running pretty low on amenities, which is starting to affect my stability. Stability is important in terms of various bonuses for your worlds. So things that'll boost that would be if you, say, for example, got a city district. You will get a clerk job, which will provide a couple bonus amenities and a couple bonus trade value. However, there are other things that would be important towards getting it, such as various structures you'll be able to build later on. Let's research our new anomaly here. Now, another good reason to get your hands on, say, a black hole. First, it gives a nice +5 to... Ooh, it's messing with the screen here when you get in close. Simulating various interesting effects that the light has on black holes. But you can build matter decompressors on black holes as well as a megastructure, which will generate you an incredible amounts of minerals per month. Ooh, I caught him at a good time. Looks like... Interesting. So there's a black hole down that way. A few other things around here. Ascension's End. That's one's always got some hostiles around it. Some void clouds. As well as some former ring segments, which I don't believe can be fixed. I believe this is a good research system if I recall correctly. Ooh, the Ute precursors. Investigating a gigantic skeleton. Fun, fun. Now I think the route I'm going to have my ship run is that way. Meantime, I've got my archaeologist pretty much running a survey cleanup. Let's see, since that was a no-go, I'll have you research out this way. Now I've got our construction ship just chilling here. We want to take advantage of some of these new systems that we're unlocking. And I definitely want to get my hands on some of that energy and minerals and engineering research. So I'm going to set up shop here in Procyon to get access to the minerals. And then I'm going to head down to Sakwis, which will at the very least lock me in on my loop here. It's nice to have that little guaranteed backdrop depending on how lucky or unlucky I get with my neighbors. Ooh, challenging difficulty anomaly. I'm a skill 2 looking at a skill 5 anomaly. So that means I'm going to wait on that before I start researching it. So that way it's not going to take 450 days for my researcher to finish. Because early game, you really want to focus on finding out about the universe around you and figuring out how best you can pretty much lock in the best territory for yourself. Granted, this is a huge universe, so even if you can't lock in too much of the best territory, there's always plenty of fantastic territory to go around. It's just a matter of how you get your hands on it. I'm running on plenty of... let's see here. Let's get me another science ship and another construction ship, because I'm starting to get to that size. But another construction ship is going to be necessary. Routine, still difficult, but they can handle it in 150 days. Now for an important question. What do I want to get from my next structure? Considering how much issue I'm having with amenities here, I'm going to go for hollow theaters, because then you get entertainer jobs, and while that will consume 2 of my consumer goods, which I've only got 5 of positive, it will give me 20 amenities, which is 10 per job, which is a very fantastic return on investment. So I'm going to get some hollow theaters to go. Research the anomaly. Alright, looks like he finished up setting up shop over here. Pressing and holding shift will also allow you to queue up building your mining stations and research stations. In the meantime, this fellow's going to start getting my outpost set over here. Ooh, armed vessel discovered in orbit RLS Q38. Light frame and invasion hardware system is built for long-distance patrol missions, but it's been turned into a stealth bomber. We have extracted the ship's destination from its navigational drive. So I can either send a special project to the labs, or say we don't need such a weapon and get the influence. Considering how I like to run on a tech bonus, I'm going to actually try and research where those labs are at. I'm most curious. Let's get us our new... Oh, yes. I got a genius. Geniuses are the best to have for your technological researchers. As Maniacal gives plus 5% bonus, Geniuses get a 10% bonus. And on top of that, they also increase the chances of you finding rare technologies. I found a lot of aliens all at once. That's very interesting. Cost a lot of that biology research, but you know what? I need to get that. Research the anomaly. And let's go back here to my technology. So since I put my genius here, I tend to love particle or physics-based research a lot. So I'm going to put my next fella, my maniacal, up on there. Which then will put my last remaining guy, resilient fella here, as my ship leader. Let's go research these X-Van labs. Research the gigantic skeleton. Can get me another tradition. Let's get our science division. Planetoid propulsion devices. And by disassembling it, we gain the ion thruster technology. Ooh, a 4,000 research technology early on. That is a very nice bonus. Alright, seems like some of my beverages may have arrived. I'm gonna grab those. Need them for the sake of my voice, which I can already feel going out. Okay. Got myself some delicious strawberry milk. So unfortunately, I'm trying to be responsible here and give up that Mountain Dew habit. Let's see. A small celestial object within the Thistle Sun system. An uneventful passing, but it gives me some unity. I'll take it. Alright. Now, the early game does go a little slow, especially in comparison to later on. But as the game progresses and you start filling out more of the universe, it really starts adding up the stuff that's going on, and micromanagement will get really challenging. But we will deal with that when we get there. Alright. Now, one fun little menu here is also on the right hand side where you can see all of your science ships in unison. This will allow you to also quickly see if you don't have anybody working on anything, like my new construction ship out here in the Sirius system, who's currently just sitting on his Batootie. However, I am about to get enough influence to build a new starbase, so I'll have him move down to the Rosacan system. Let's see, found the presence of decaying orbital stations in Tomb World's Zempak system. Whatever nation lived there appears to have collapsed into ruin long ago. Probably from nuclear wars, my bet. Since they're tomb worlds, Fallen Outpost is a junkyard of a planet covered in irradiated, rusting remnants of demolished buildings, infrastructure, and vehicles. So whatever civilization has lived there has blown themselves to smithereens. They used to have a very good size 22 world. Interesting indeed. Ooh, rock's core is through with a network of conductive crystals. They recognize it as a primitive neural lattice and believe the celestial body to be thinking in some capacity, if not fully sapient. They want to excavate the core. So I can either study the surface for 2 of each research per month, or I can actually take out the core. You know, I am going to excavate it. See what we can find. I'll dig into someone's brain. Ah. So pulling the rock out has caused it to die. We essentially mined someone's brain and it just broke. Now I feel terrible. But we get a nice boost to physics research and a fair amount of energy credits for the effort. Alright, finished my first engineering research. Did I get anything fun this time? Bonus to minerals from miners, faster corvettes, or afterburners technology. I've already unlocked ion thrusters. I'll deal with that when I've got a higher research per turn. Let's get our bonus to minerals. Ooh, the Alpha Centauri system, also with another desert world. Now, because we're a Gaia world, my species does not like to live on anything other than perfect Gaia worlds. They're very picky that way. So all these systems are ones I'm going to have to terraform eventually into perfect worlds. Let's see here. Oh my. So the X-Fan Labs has found all kinds of horrors in there. Something that rips apart people from the inside until some strange unidentifiable matter spills out of them. Strangely like something out of the engineers' labs on Alien. Matter continues to expand, swirling hypnotically around them until one of the signs activates the emergency system. Sprinklers activate, and the liquid with an electrical surge passes through it, killing all living things. And then the footage ends. We can confirm that the strong box was indeed empty. Which also gives us some research into super solid materials. Interesting. Now, as for what that research does, we can see that into our tech tree here. Super solid materials is just additional bonus into engineering research. Well, I'll keep that available down there for a little while and come back to it later. Let's finish up with our minerals research for engineering. Now, let's see here. This guy's just chilling. Get your outpost up and running. In the meantime, I'm going to send you. I've got a decent amount of materials going on. Build me some mining stations down in the Sirius system. Now I've got 1.1k food built up. I'll let that build a little more. 1.5k energy. Nothing else I'm in particular dire need of at the moment. Let's queue this guy up a little further. This is another little core with a lot of links. Anomaly detected. That's not the anomaly. Research. Research the anomalies. Tell me everything. Let's see, he's got his queue. I found the Yivzorak Covenant, a theocratic dictatorship of spiritual seekers. We will fight for our right to exist. But now that we've confirmed that intelligent alien life for the first time, our populace is mixed. We are not alone in the galaxy, but each new alien species we encounter represents both an opportunity and a threat. Now, these particulars give us a level of technology similar to our own, indicating that we achieved spaceflight at roughly the same time. I've also gained access to the Pious Zelvin Grand Duchy at the same time. They are more spiritual seekers. Both surprisingly small. I did not expect them to, members of the glorious Furbanite League. Ah, so they're a species that starts off in a covenant together. Interesting. Let's see, a planet that we thought was a gas giant is in fact a barren planet. So no worries there. And since I happen to be fully aware that these guys are another species, first, it's no longer important for me to worry about what's in their territory. But second, makes me extremely interested in cutting off their growth. Evangelizing zealots, also part of the Furbanites. Looks like they've really batched themselves together. Interesting. And the Furbanite United Territories has closed their borders to me. Well, the rest of them haven't, so I'm not too particularly worried about that. And if I can block off the Yivzorak at Potap, I can really stunt their growth as a league, which would be very important for me later. That, or I can look for a way to potentially even join their league. We'll have to see. Now, do I want to boost my physics research or get some blue lasers? I'm going to boost my physics research. Why? Because I like boosting research. It tends to go pretty well. Now, since these guys are going to be a neighbor of mine, I want to start off by approving some relations, especially as they seem to have a somewhat superior fleet to mine. Now, let's get my next research up, boosting my leader caps and levels. Discovered some Eta aliens, which is likely going to be another species. Looks like I'm going to find myself surrounded sooner than I had anticipated. Fun indeed. One of my science ships is taking a nap out in the Ionides sector. Which, rather than taking a nap, you will be productive and check out this Quality 5 anomaly. It'll take you a while, but you know what? It's worth it. You're going to pop over there to build me some mining stations. Based on the fact that I've got neighbors so soon, I am going to up the size of my fleet. Now, personally, I like to use Ship Designer, but I haven't unleashed enough research to have anything worth tagging on there. So I'm just going to go with the base generated class of ships and get a fleet up to 10. It's going to get a little pricey, but I'll fill in what I can. Got some society research to drop on there. Ooh, hydroponics, which are great for boosting up some high quality food with a building, or pop growth, or boosting food from farmers. I'll get food from farmers later, so I'm going to go for some pop growth speed. I am kind of stuck on a Gaia world, so filling up with people as soon as I can is a pretty amenable strategy, I would say. The challenge is going to be whether I can get to Potap in time. We're going to run down there and chill until I got enough influence. It looks like it'll take me 4 turns. 4 months. Will we be able to secure Potap and lock off that territory? Or will I just have to give it up? Pop off over at Uthari and, oh, yeah, looks like Potap's out of the charts for me, so I'm going to have to lock over on Uthari here, so that way at the very least I can keep my hands on Ascension's End. It's a very good system, and I am not going to surrender that to terrorists. Then for defensive purposes, I'm going to need to upgrade this starport, or this little outpost, into a starport, which will fill up another one of my starbase capacity. But at the very least, I'm going to be holding on to Ascension's End for myself. I found some, let's see, there we go, that's a good researchable one. For the anomalies, you got to pay close attention up there, you might miss it when they arrive. this might be an interesting route. Research the way back into the fold of what I can reasonably influence to eventually push to the north. Looks like I'll need to queue up more of his research as well. So from what I can see here, if I tactically move to abandoned amusement park, give me a nice boost to research. So if I can move up to this system right here and lock that off, I could theoretically snag myself a really nice segment up here of territory. So I'm going to actually have you start surveying out this way. Let's see, some honor-bound warriors, and they are our neighbors, and they're also surprisingly small. Closed borders are right back to them. Fanatic militarists and spiritualists. I do not trust these guys. They're also life-seeded, so they've got a Gaia world as their home world. So they're very similar to me. Which would also make them a prime target. Haha, I think we know who our first expansion plans are going to be against. Also looks like I'm not going to be able to get my hands on that archaeological site, which is most unfortunate. Alright, got the Asleep Starbase up and running. Ionides is a good enough system. At the very least, I'm going to want to come up here and claim to Ridathi if I can pull it off. So I need you to hurry up to get to Hiothra, because I know where my next influence is going. Found a new anomaly to research. Alright. Since these guys are already starting off as a federation, I wonder if there's going to be... Attempting to scan the object has been unsuccessful. It quickly falls below the horizon, and we simply can't keep up with our instruments. Let's see here. The object possesses some extraordinary properties, or some gravitational phenomena at work for its velocity. It appears to be increasing over time, and we suspect it may soon be thrown out of orbit even without outside interference. So we can try and slow it down. We can try and halt it. We can move out of harm's way and let the object to its fate. Now, I feel like halting it would likely destroy the object, so let's try and send a drone in to catch the object. Let's see what happens. Well, let's see. The drone successfully intercepted it. We latched on, thrust its reverse little by little, and we were eventually able to take it in for retrieval. Appears to be a box with vein-like ridges along its sides. We can only guess at its contents. We can open it, see what happens when we open up an alien box, get rid of it for some more experience, or we can study it. Research the alien box. Now me, I am one for study, as you have seen so far. 39 months and 1,000 physics research to study this box. It's worth. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what mystery we can find. Let's see here. In Suthanar's Armada is my fleet now, up to fleet power 409. which now has these guys all looking at me as equivalent instead of overbearing. Ooh, just having decrypted a signal we found works from a Thistle playwright who lived some 600 years ago. So that would put it 2000, back in the 1600s. Ooh, that would put us into the Victoria era, if I recall. Or would that be EU4 era? I think no, that's EU4 era. Fun times indeed. Further evidence of our superiority for 15% unity and 10% happiness, or we can gain a bulk 258 unity up front. Let's see, it's only for 60 months. I'll take the unity up front. Get a nice little jump there for the next tradition. Let's see, reduce the upkeep of Pops working on research. I do indeed have a faith in science. Let's get that. Oh, it is a shame. Karos has so many minerals in it. If I can get there, I could also stop the Confederated Suns from moving there. I would lose Ionides, but actually it would be a much more tactical system to get my hands on. I've got a science ship just chilling here in Thistle Sun. Instead of... Ooh, got some new factions. 3 new factions to be precise. They each fall under a different area of governance. And how much they are happy and like you boosts how much influence you get for them. That's something I'm going to look into a bit later. Right now, they're a little small, so I'm not too worried about them, but I'll start looking at them more in depth later. Probably on our next Let's Play. Now for our next research, ooh, mineral purification plants, giving 15% bonus to miners, additional miner job as well, which boosts our mineral income. That'll be very nice to have on planets, especially mining worlds, as it'll vastly increase the amount of minerals we can get. Ah, finally, a dig site that I can actually guaranteed secure. Start getting our outpost here in the Hythera system. And in all likelihood, that might be where we, ooh, the Theta aliens. Power's only 777. Looks like a mining drone fleet. Well, I'll have to research them to know for sure. All I know is that now I've got to send my research ship around the long way. Research anomaly out there. It's only 150 days. You move to the Kara system. I'm going to try and claim that as soon as it is reasonably possible. Look at them thinking their fleets are superior to mine. If I can get them into a good tactically oriented war, I might be able to wipe their fleets and claim their capital, which will give me a massive boost to resources. Give me a very nice Gaia world. Petria's also got another archaeological site. continue to boost relations here. They'll eventually stop being wary of me, I hope. Ooh, I found an automated shipyard. That would be a construction research. Automated shipyard is up here. I'm going to pop up there and research that project, as it'll give me a free ship. And looks like we're about to run up pretty close to an hour here, and this looks like a very good time. So I'm going to call it on our Let's Play tonight. We shall continue on to find out about the next adventures in the Great Thistle Imperium next time. Thank you. Have a wonderful night.